soon be required by law to separate your waste. Farms that fail to comply with this law also risk losing their operating licenses. This is according to Environment Principal Secretary Dr. Chris Kipto, who also raised concerns about how Kenyans were disposing of their face masks. And TV's Anita Nkonge had a chat with him, and this is where they began their conversation.
We have estimated that nearly 50% of Kenyans now are using masks. So you can imagine you're generating so much waste per day, because if it is single use, it means you use every day and dispose. So we are appealing that that should be again sorted, because most of this waste cannot be recycled. It is hazardous. So there is an appropriate way that has been indicated by law on how to manage that. I want to repeat that it is not for lack of regulations. We have come up with regulations. We even issued guidelines through NEMA and through the Public Health Authority, the Ministry of Health. We work together to develop guidelines on managing especially COVID-related waste. And we've seen compliance by some entities, but we still see a lot of majority of Kenyans not complying, because you use it, especially the single-use one. Once you are done, you don't safely dispose as already guided.
Now, let's talk a little bit about waste management. What does that mean?
Let me say that this has been a problem for a while. I can say that at the moment, every Kenyan is estimated to produce at least half a kilo of waste. So we have 45 million of us. And if you work out, it means we produce around 22,000 metric tons of waste per day. And in Nairobi, we're talking about 3,000 metric tons per day.
So what does that look like? When you're talking about trying to manage waste, what is the ministry doing about it right now?
At the moment, we are getting our waste from your household. Everything you get, plastics, and from your kitchen, all the organic material you put in one pit. And then the vehicle comes to pick. All that is not sorted. All the way it is taken to Dandora. So we are moving to a circular from what is called linear model, where our waste is not sorted at source and taken to a dump site, and now moving to a situation where we sort our waste at source and taken not to dump sites, but to material recovery centers where value will be derived. And therefore, the whole issue will be around that we'll reduce the waste. For the waste that we produce, we shall make an effort to reuse that waste, to recycle it, and therefore, to a large extent, create jobs, create wealth, and therefore improve our economy. There is a law that is being enacted by Parliament, which is going to make it a must. There are a number of things that will be mandatory to be done. For instance, sorting waste at source will be mandatory.
By source, do you mean from my house?
From your house. From your house, and anybody who is generating any waste must make an effort to segregate. So there will be measures, and they will be segregated at least in terms of what is recyclable, what is organic, and what can go to the landfill.
How soon can we see this being implemented?
We have about 2 weeks of informing the sector that we have these regulations coming in place. Immediately after that, I expected that my minister, the cabinet secretary, will gazette those regulations, and therefore they will become in force. But they will have 6 months. Once the gazette notice is put in place, they will have 6 months to comply.
And failure to which?
If they don't, then clearly they will have no license to operate, because NEMA will not license them, and other regulatory bodies will not allow them to be in place. But we are saying those manufacturers and producers, we are not even waiting for the law in Parliament to go through. Through the current law that we have, which is called the National Environmental Management and Coordination Act, we have come up with regulations called Extended Producer Responsibility. And these Extended Producer Responsibility regulations are now requiring all producers or importers of goods that end up being bought by consumers to consider post-consumer management of waste. And therefore, they are being required by law to belong to a producer responsibility organization.
Now, how about managing and dealing with waste management cartels? How do you plan on tackling this?
Yeah, I think this will be sorted and naturally, because the bill will be very clear, specifying on the roles that. Because once the bill comes out, it says the responsibility of the county will be this, and the county will then be responsible to find ways to ensure that they organize those in the waste sector to also be able to get jobs. I don't think any of them would lose anything, because they will still be opportunity to transport waste.